Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's been a while, taking a holiday break for 2 weeks, and I've got a good guest. I usually have a pair of them, but just have one tonight because we're dealing in a special subject and one that involves another guest. And I'm going to let Rob talk about her, but I want to thank everybody for following me on Facebook and giving me some likes and comments. I love the comments because that way I get a chance to talk to you and answer to you. And also, I'm building a little bit on YouTube. If you want to go to YouTube, you can see the show there. This is Dave Emmons and A Strange Reality, and you can see that show. And I'm working on my books, another short story book, and a few things have been happening. I'll tell you, the weird things happen, paranormal things happen whenever you get ETs. Or you've had some ET experiences like I did a couple months ago in Montana, Wyoming. I'm sure you saw some of those stories. But I'm going to tell you a nice story real quick before I get into the show with my guest, special guest, actually. The Rob and Mark have been great guys, and I really like them a lot. And I'm glad they're doing this show with me, starting off my year. And I'm probably starting off their year. You might have had an interview earlier, but tell you a little quick story that happened to me. It's an angel story. I was at Walmart, at a local Walmart in a parking lot. I just loaded the groceries up that my wife went in and bought. She got in the car. I took the little cart over to the little slot, well, not the slot, but I guess a cage, and I put it in there. And then I turned around, and there was a guy about 6'3", 6'4", big guy, young guy, probably 30, 32 years old, and he had a wool stocking cap on, and he had a coat, a nice coat. I didn't pay much attention to the coat because I looked at his face. His eyes were brilliant blue, and I thought, wow. And he was standing only about 5 feet from me. When I turned around, there he was, and my car was only 15 feet away. And he said, "You need some help?" And he didn't have any groceries in his hand. He was actually walking away from the store area and walking out of the parking lot. And I didn't know that he's even shopping, but I kind of was startled, and I said, "No, not really." He said, "Well, your feet." He said, "You're limping." I said, "Yeah, I have a broken ankle. I had one years ago, and I got arthritis, and this cold weather really affects it." I said, "My back too." I said, "If you can help that out, that's fine." And then he says, "I can help you if you want me to help you." And I looked at him and I said, well, maybe not right now, but this is the time where I should have answered him and said, "Yeah, help me." He looked like an angel. He was pale complexion, and he had like really shiny blue eyes. And I was taken back by this, about a young man just standing there in a parking lot, watching and observing me walking, and with a limp. Usually people don't stop you and ask you about a limp as long as you're getting along. Rob, that's what blows my mind. But I told him, I said, "That'd be okay." And then a car pulls in behind him because they wanted to get through the parking lot. I pointed at the car and I pointed at him, and he turned around and looked at the car like he had no idea that cars were driving in behind him. And he was like somewhere else. I don't know. And then I walked around him and to the car, and my wife said, "Who was that out there?" I said, "I don't even want to tell you." I said, "I think it was an angel trying to help me with my foot." So that's a good ET story. Not ET, it's a spiritual angel, whatever. But on the show tonight, starting off the first show of the year, and I'll be having 2 shows a week, of course, and I'm thinking about doing some other things. But got some new equipment. I got the little shakes a while ago. It's like playing on a band stage. When you have a new equipment and you go up on a band stage, you got 1,500 people out there, you got to make dance. And you think, "Oh my goodness, is this amplifier going to work okay? Or is this drum set not going to fall apart?" You get those technical jitters, is what I call it. And I called Rob to help me. I said, let me, pass on this show a little bit and get back into it. But yeah, I got a little piece of new equipment that I'm using. And, but now I'm getting to my guests. I'm sorry about holding up, but I want to tell those little stories. I got a lot of little stories going on. And my wife says, "You got a third eye." And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "I'm open for anything, I guess, but I'm not being taken." My guest tonight is Rob Freeman, and he's an explorer, and he's encountered a lot of epic events like Mount Shasta, and he's got a buddy, Mark McNabb, that's usually with him, but not tonight because Mark usually covers the ETs and UFOs. But we're going to be doing something else different tonight. Rob Freeman is executive producer, and Mark is the director, video camera, technical director, and also Rob has this new. It's not new technique, but it's probably something that he's devised and worked with, and he's actually got this thing. It's called, he's in a telepathic powers. Of course, it's got something to do with that. It's the phenomena of vision without eyes, and he's going to be talking about that with our special guest tonight. And I'm going to get to her. And the vision without eyes is with 100% accuracy a must see. And Rob and Mark's work on Skylight Films, Artist View Entertainment, Super Channel, Netflix, and CanWest Global. They do documentaries. They travel all over the world, these guys. But Rob come up with this study, and he's been working on it, I guess, for a year or so. Rob Freeman has. And we're going to see the results of that with our special guest we have. Our special guest tonight is Trish Laube. And Trish is emerging light and sight after total blindness, using her innate inner abilities. Diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa in 2004, Trish was told she was going to be blind, and there was nothing that could be done at that time. She was married with 2 children, and the diagnosis profoundly changed her family's path. Today, we explore where Trish is now on her journey, and I'm sure Rob Freeman, we're going to talk about her journey and also the journey of the whole project and everything. Rob Freeman, could you tell us a little bit about your special guest you got with you tonight and tell us what you're going to be talking about?
Sure. So it's Vision Without Eyes, Dave, and I've actually been involved with this for 8 years now. And I know, you and I, you've done these podcasts with myself and Marcus for many years now, and we
Right.
never really talked about it until just recently.
Yeah.
And when we did some podcasts around the Vision Without Eyes, but I've actually been involved with it for over 8 years. And it's something that I learned how to do myself. And it actually started out through the UFO, actually. We were in Australia and we met a friend who we traveled around Australia with. And when I got back from Australia, from the UFO expedition, she sent me a video of her grandkids running around the backyard with masks on, playing hide and go seek. But it was as if they could see each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote her back right away and I said, Leonie, is this a joke or is this true? Because if it's true, I want to do it. To make a long story short, I started on a journey, met several different teachers over the years, and learned how to do this myself. And we started doing, and we did a lot of it online. But we found that, that is slow going or can be slow going. And we thought it would be better to do it in person. And somehow we felt the results would be much better in person. So
Mm-hmm.
we started putting on seminars. And Trish here came to one of my seminars a year ago in January, right here in London, Ontario. And Trish is blind and she's got, medical documents to prove it. And the last couple of weeks that we've been practicing, she's had a light in her vision. In other words, a spot where there's a little bit of light. And she can look through that area and she can now see. She can make out shapes. She can make out colors. And we call this mind sight. There's many different names for it. Some people don't even like to call it a name. Some people call it psychic sight. Some
Right.
people call it extraocular vision. Some
Yeah.
call it mind vision, mind sight, seeing without eyes. It is some way that you can see without your eyes. And we've got several blind people that are coming to the seminars. And my goal is to have the blind folks being able to see in real time so that they can, in Trish's case, her dream is to be able to see the face of her granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a huge motivation for Trish. It would be for me too if I was blind to see my grandchild or grandchildren. And Trish has had success already. She's had a little spot open where she can see through, and it seems to be getting better with each practice we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so pleased that she's agreed to come on the podcast here and actually demonstrate maybe a little bit later on what she can do.
Yeah, I last time you was on the show is this when you had this sight without vision. I I was very impressed. I was taken aback. I tell you the truth, I was sitting there thinking, "Oh my goodness, this is neat." This is I've never seen this before. Of course, I've seen other people talk about doing things like that. Vision without it's vision without eyes is what it's actually called, and it seems like Trisha's journey started in 2024. Am I right about that, Rob?
Trish, maybe you can talk a little bit about your journey here.
Yes, yes, Trish.
Yeah. Well, as far as the eyesight, I was diagnosed with that in 2004, and that was a very slow progression of typical retinitis pigmentosa, also known as RP, that typically just goes tunnel vision all the way down to complete. Some people go completely black, and some people leave a little bit of central vision residue.
Right.
Um, and so in October of the fall of October of 2023, I have medical documents to show that mine had, with no surprise, my doctor said, well, yeah, Trish, we knew this was going to come to this day. And it was, pitch black in both eyes. And I, you know, um, went through quite of a year in 2023. And then in 2024, started to pick myself up, put all my puzzle pieces back together and be tenacious and take on life and say, you know what, I've already been told that I can do nothing about this. So I'm going to just start doing whatever I can to heal it from within and look for all these other, out there processes that are beyond the modern medical. And came across these types of programs and said, you know what, why not? Going to
Yeah.
give it a shot.
Okay. Trish, Tenacity is your nickname. In
Yeah.
2004, you started this situation with going blind.
Correct.
How long were you able to see before you went blind, Trish?
I didn't start this. So in 2004, I was either 26 or 28. I was in my mid
Oh,
20s.
okay.
I had two boys under the age of 10 at that time.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
that strikes me right there in the heart about that. I mean, losing your sight is a big change. I know you probably went through a lot of thinking and stressing and just
Oh yeah. There was
yeah. God bless you
stepping
for that.
stepping on
Yeah.
stepping on my dogs and my kids. I realized something was wrong when I kept stepping on the kids and dogs. I was like, yep, something's
Yeah.
got to go get checked.
Yeah. Well, God bless you, and I hope that this I guess this program that you're in is doing some good because, like Rob said, you're going to be identifying certain things like triangles and squares, and like we did last time, I guess we went through that with one person, and I think you even did it too. I think Rob on the air, and when we had that show.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, it may have been Dahlia, and she's a sighted person,
Yeah.
so she is sighted and has the mind sight. And anybody can do this. Everybody's born with this, Dave.
Yeah.
And in most cases, likely between the ages of 2 and 3, we discovered it as little children, as little boys and little girls, and in many cases, we go out, with our hands over our eyes out to the kitchen and say, "Hey, Mom, I can see you with my eyes closed or with my hands over my eyes." And of course, Mom will say, "Honey, that's just make believe. Sweetheart, that's not real."
Mm.
And it shuts it down. And so in this program that we're doing, we're just going back and we're saying, "Look, let's continue on. You have it. It's been shut down. Let's reopen it." And it's really just getting out of the way, Dave.
Yeah.
Getting out of that sort of intellectual mind and allowing yourself access to your creative, sensing, intuitive side. And it starts out at the intuitive level. And I have to say that Trish was already super strong at the intuitive level when she came into this. And she's been practicing, and we've got videos of our practices where she's got her back turned to the screen. She's got her eyes facing the other wall, and she's getting all the symbols, the letters, the colors, and everything. But what good will that do her walking around the house backwards?
Yeah.
She needs to be able to see looking frontwards. So we take it to the next level, the advanced level, which is seeing in real time, literally from your front, and it typically comes across as if it's your eyes looking. But we've got people in the program who don't even have eyes, and they're getting their seeing window open. So it's a psychic thing. It's something that happens directly to your brain. And somehow the energy all around us can come directly to your brain, and your brain can assemble it. It can assemble it into pictures in real time, like
Yeah.
video, so that you can navigate and see around your house. You can go outside and navigate around your yard, your street, at intersections, go to the mall, go to the grocery store. And this is my goal for Trish, is that she will be seeing in real time with a bigger window than she has now.
Good.
Like, we were not practicing for the couple weeks over the holidays, and we practiced, what was it, last night or the night before, Trish? I think we've practiced a couple times already. And I was already blown away with how much she has advanced just while we were over the holidays, Dave.
Yeah.
So, and you're going to see her demonstrate shortly, but you know, it's small right now how she's seeing, and she has to really look carefully. But over time, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, there's some people that have 360-degree vision. They can see all around them. And I don't know if Trish is aspiring towards that, but as long as she's got vision in front of her and she can get around and navigate, I will be a super happy guy.
Yeah. Rob, you mentioned science. This everything is coming like from the universe into our brain. Our brain is a
Mhm.
receptor, and you just mentioned that a little bit. Has there been any quantum physics people, scientists explain any of this or talk about this, Rob?
Right now, there are several groups that are studying it. We're aligned with a fella, Alex Gomez, out of Spain, and he has received a grant from the IONS group. And he is researching this out. He's got many folks that he's working with, including blind folks. There are other groups, there are scientific people who are, with the electrodes on the head, and they're measuring the brain waves. And in our seminar coming up on January 24th in Orlando, we're going to have one such person there, along with a neuroscientist, and who, for anybody that's interested, can get involved with the scientific end of it as their mind sight starts to open. So
When will that
my
occur,
goal,
Rob?
that's going to be January 24th to February 1st is our seminar workshop in Orlando, Florida. There's still a few seats left. Um, I'm not sure when this broadcasts, the seminar might already be over by the time this broadcasts. I'm not sure.
No, it'll
But
be out this week. The broadcast within the next day or
okay.
two, and then I'm going to
Okay.
send you the raw file, like I told you. Another question, Rob. This may go to Trish. You say there's a little spotlight of light that she developed. Did she develop that, or was that just left over from her complete blindness? Either one of you can answer, Trish or Rob.
Okay.
The way that I have experienced it is a lot of times a lot of them will say like there's little windows or those little dots and they merge and all this stuff. And the way that I'm experiencing it, like I said, I've been doing some modalities and some healing from within naturally and changing my lifestyle and what I'm eating. And so it's a combination of everything. But when it comes to the training that I've been doing for over a year with Rob and Vision Without Eyes and the post um, Zoom practices, what seems to be what I'm experiencing is what looks like looking through an icy windshield with headlights coming at you.
Okay, yeah.
Um, and that's the best way for me to describe what I'm seeing. What's really interesting with that, and that's just exactly the way I'm seeing, just looking forward like that. When I was on my husband's motorcycle, I had my sunglasses on and I had closed my eyes, and through my eyelids, I saw exactly the same way. I saw exactly an icy windshield that looked like headlights coming at me.
Mm. Wow.
But I was able to distinctively see the difference between the white line, the yellow line, between green and a white sidewalk. And even though it was like looking through an icy windshield with headlights.
Yeah. So can you walk, like say, take a walk outside and be able to walk around using that talent?
I'm actually really surprised and it's interesting that you asked that, Dave, because most people would say, well, it's not a big deal for her to walk around her property or house because she's used to their, blah, blah, blah. Well, we had recently gone to a birthday party for my husband's coworker, and this was a brand new house to me, brand new environment to me and everything. And I was sitting there and I was pointing out, hey, that's a round ceiling, circle ceiling light. There's one here, there's one there, there's one here. It's still obviously, like I said, looking through an icy windshield, it's blurry, but I was able to not only identify that, and then I pointed and I said, that looks like little tiny, like white Christmas lights, spread out kind of in a square kind of pattern. They said, yeah,
Right.
it's out on the deck outside the window. And then I pointed out another area that was the actual Christmas tree with different lights and stuff on it. So there was a lot of stuff like that I was able to identify where the doors and windows were of different places and
Hmm.
get enough information from my sight in order to kind of look around and see a different environment.
Right. I know, Rob,
Dave.
we've worked with people, Dahlia, with the blindfold on, but is Trish your first totally blind person that you work with on this program?
We've got several blind folks that we're working with. Trish seems to be at the head of the pack at the moment. Okay, she's the first person who is actually seeing in real time. Okay, I mean, it starts out at the intuitive level where you'll get images almost like stills, like photos.
Hmm.
And it's not that helpful in a real-time situation. But Trish is the first person so far who can see in real time. Now, as far as a blind person goes, we've got many, many, many folks who have gone through the program who are sighted, who can see through their blindfold and, several layers of material over the blindfold. But these are people that started out as sighted people. But in terms of blind folks, we've got about five, and Trish is one of them, and she's the very first who has now developed an actual seeing window. And as she says, it looks like it's frosted or iced over as if you're looking through your car in the morning. And before you scrape the ice off, in the northern parts of the US or the southern parts of Canada. And she is getting the very same effect that many of the folks who are sighted get just before their seeing window opens clearly.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm so excited about where Trish is. And every time we practice, I see that she's, advanced a little bit more. And she may very well find that one day soon she will be looking, at the shapes and she's going to see them as clear as a bell and it's going to be bigger. Like right now, and she'll demonstrate shortly, she has to kind of follow the edges of the shape around to see what it is. Um, Trish, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you see the whole shape at the same time, or do you have to follow the edges around in order to see it?
It depends, because when we were working on the iPhone, my phone, which is what I'm on right now, it's definitely more of a challenge, because it's such a small screen, and I'm like hunched over to try to see the screen rather than my iPad. And usually with the iPad, I was able to see, like for instance, the whole shape. But the closed ones were a lot easier, obviously, to identify. Where the open ones, I almost like kind of do this check process to follow the lines to make sure I've got the correct shape before I just say I don't see it as clearly as I do the closed ones.
Yeah. Most doctors, Trish and Rob, they don't believe in, I guess, paranormal, or they don't believe in anything outside of medicine that you can't prove straight up through medicine. And just like some of my doctors, I had half of them believe in UFOs and ETs and are very interested. And I had half of them who just kind of look at you and say, well, we don't go there. you know. But how does your eye doctor, Trish, what does he say to you about some of this new founded talent that you're having?
Well, my eye doctor, since I came back from the January 2025 seminar, I had invited two other blind friends with me, Leanne and John. And John opened his window outside in the yard, like on day 3 or 4. And he was born blind with a optic nerve that was just underdeveloped, and it was just really emotional, being able to experience that. And my doctor, I sent the video to her about that and some of the other videos that he had during practices and stuff like that. I sent some of my practice videos to her. Obviously, she sees me every 6 months, and she's been with me for 20 years since the beginning. She was not the doctor who told me I was going to go blind. There's nothing I can do about it. That was a different doctor who diagnosed me. But then I had gone to Heidi after that, and she's been amazing. And when I, went to her after, I had a lot of anxiety, and I had some other stuff that happened during 2023 that really knocked me to the ground.
Yeah.
And she saw that, and she knew that, this was what it was going to be. And I came back a year later, the following October fall, because I see her in April and then I see her in October's. And when I came back, I brought my shapes, I brought my colors. I said, it was practicing with the mask at the time. And I, was telling her all about the program, telling her about the videos. And then I said, and I also can, you know, able to see the light. I said I was able to see the machine and to have some light. And she said, "Yeah, I can tell." And she said, "This is so exciting." She's like so excited that I was in this program, and she was really excited that she saw some of the stuff John was doing as well. And I since have sent her the videos now of me identifying the shapes and the colors and stuff on the Zoom with Rob. And then I talked to her on the phone, and she's getting ready to retire after all these years, and but she wants to stay in contact. But she just said, "This isn't a surprise to me that you're pulling the information or be able to do this at some point, because Helen Keller figured out how to
Yeah.
navigate." And she said, "But you are like, first of all, the first patient," and she goes to tons of retinal conferences and sees thousands and thousands of patients and talks with thousands of doctors that have RP patients. And she said, "I think you're the only one in the world that's emerging sight right now." And
Yeah.
she's like, "It doesn't matter how." And I said, "I don't want to label it. I just want to say I'm seeing, and it's sight to me. And I don't want to get bogged down on all of the labels and all of the other stuff about it. I just
Yeah.
want to keep practicing and keep seeing and
Yeah.
just let it come naturally."
The first time I was exposed to, I guess, as a little kid, I was only about 4 years old. My grandmother had sugar diabetes pretty bad on my dad's side, and this was back in the mid 50s. And she would take us little kids, would be crawling around or whatever, and around her wheelchair, well, not her wheelchair. She did a wheelchair, I think, but the rocking chair mostly. And she'd feel our faces, and that's how she was able to identify things. She would feel the face, and she'd say, "Davy," and I said, "Yeah," and then she'd feel the face of my brother. I had about four brothers or four kids at that time. My mom did, and she was able to tell who was who just by touching and feeling, and so there was a little bit of the talent there, I guess, the touchy feely talent. But what we're going on further than that now, it sounds like, Rob, with this technique that you got, and
Yeah.
has there
It,
been any scientific experiments in the past? I mean, even with the deep state or the shadow government, have they ever experimented with that stuff, Rob?
they have gotten into a lot of the psi abilities,
Yeah.
but they haven't, and they've gotten into remote viewing. This is
Yes.
very much related to remote
Yes,
viewing,
it
especially
is.
at the intuitive level, but it seems to be one step further advanced. It's not just remote viewing. We go through that in the seminar because you're seeing the things, whether they're in front of you or behind you, you can pick them up. We call it local remote viewing, but we go much further than that and actually seeing the room in real time. And to my knowledge, that has not really been studied by the government. Maybe we're going to get the men in black coming to my door. I don't know, but this has been around for a long time, and
Yeah.
you can read accounts of it in the newspaper from the 1800s, the 1900s, and it never really went anywhere. But now, now that we've got all these machines and these caps with electrodes, you've actually got, credible scientists that are studying it more than it's ever been studied before, ever.
Yeah.
And that is exciting for me because not only do I see the results in the classes, and Dave, we once the people have gone to a week-long seminar and paid for that, we hold free Zoom classes every Monday and Thursday so they can keep their mindset going and they can improve it more. But, it's super exciting that there are scientific people studying this because for me, this will help. I guess, I already know that it's a real credible thing, but to add science to it where they'll actually prove it to me will be the icing on the cake. And there's several blind folks, sorry, there are several folks, period, both sighted and blind, that are involved with various different scientists as we speak. And
Mhm.
there's already been a lot of tests run. They've already mapped out areas of the brain that it seems to be working in. And there's going to be stuff published. Even the folks that are coming to our seminar January 24th, they've asked if I'd like to be part of this scientific paper. And I said, of course. So I will be on that paper with them. And they're going to get all the data from the folks who are having their windows, they're seeing in real time windows come open.
Mhm.
And even Trish will be there, and Trish herself will be welcome to participate with these folks if she wishes. We certainly don't want to put anybody under any kind of pressure
Right.
because these abilities don't do well under pressure, at least not at the start. We call it getting bulletproof. Once a person has practiced quite a bit and they're so-called bulletproof, then it doesn't matter. They're seeing the real-time sight is open, period, when they want it to be open. I've had my niece that I've taught for several years now, and I've got a place in Costa Rica, and at one point the workmen were doing work in the back courtyard area, and we were just outside the door at the patio table, and she wanted to practice. And of course, all the workmen showed up to do their work, and they were dragging ladders and talking, even making comments in Spanish right beside her as they walked past. I was a little afraid that her mindset was going to shut down, but to her surprise, she kept going with it. And it was at those moments that she proved to herself that she was bulletproof, that it didn't matter what happened, she could rely on her mindset to run in real time. And we asked Danny, my niece, to come and demonstrate at the seminars. And so she has taught in the seminars and she's demonstrated. And you can get to that level when you're bulletproof, when you practice quite a bit. And even Trish now, like, as I say, just in the last couple of weeks, her confidence level, I see it. Like she knows what she's able to do with her mindset or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
In her case, she's able to see, and her confidence level is getting higher and higher and higher. And I do expect that, she'll surprise me. She's texts me when certain things are happening, but I expect I'm going to get a text, maybe even in the middle of the night, because she's a nighthawk, and that, her seeing window has come open even bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited about what's happening for Trish, Dave.
Yeah. I want to mention Elon Musk. He come out with this idea, Neuralink. Now, what does the Neuralink do? Does that link up the mind and the optical nerves? Can that do that too, Rob?
I think that's where he's heading with all that stuff,
Yeah.
so that he can help out blind people
Mhm.
technologically.
Yeah.
Okay. So And that's great. My big concern would be, if they implanted something in my head, what happens if it malfunctions and, gives you this screaming sound or something? I mean, how do you rip it out?
Yeah,
Like,
that has happened with other implants. They actually implanted very similar devices. That's one of the reasons why my doctor even said that, she admires my fortitude of practicing and looking at coming to you and to do this kind of training and to stick with it because most people want the easy fix of a pill or surgery or an implant. And one of a person's implant, and you can easily find this, is he had it and put in, but it does not bring you to the sight that you're used to or that most sighted people can see. It is more like a pixel kind of a vision. And it also, with the chip, there was a brain bleed and it separated the electrodes or the wiring from the chip. And he lost that and went into deep depression because of that.
Yeah. I just wonder if
so
they can put the chip on the outside of the head to where they can control it and check it, monitor it, and just have the little wires go in to do the work. I don't know. I'm
you
just
know,
talking.
Dave, with technology, they'll probably advance all this stuff. But, on a parallel side, we're advancing this in a natural way. So that, because when you open up your mind sight, you're seeing in real time naturally. You don't have to worry that you could have high pitched squeals at a huge volume in your head and things like that. I mean, don't forget, this is something you already have. You're just revisiting it and you're picking up where you left off as a little boy or girl, and you're allowing it to develop naturally. We just set up the conditions in these seminars and allow it to just come wandering out by itself. That's
Mhm.
all we're doing.
Yeah.
And we're not sort of giving anybody anything. We're just getting the conditions right so that their own ability will come out and play.
Mhm.
And Trish has experienced it, and the other blind people have, and the sighted people who are seeing in real time with many layers over their eyes,
Mhm.
including foil and copper and plastic and paper and fabric, and they can see through it. And it's not magic. It's something that we all have. We're hardwired with it. And we have, come to believe that this is something that's impossible. But, in the seminars, we get people started from a very, right from the basics, and they start getting success. And it builds on that as they start to get confidence and seeing things happen. And you're just reconnecting with something you already have.
Yeah.
I
I
could
guess
spend an hour with you, Dave, and maybe we'll do this. I could spend an hour with you on a Zoom call, and I will have you seeing at the intuitive level within the hour.
my wife will say, I don't think you can get him to do anything. No, not really. Not really. But with my guest, Rob Freeman, we're continuing here, and we're going to go into a demonstration with Trish, as we were talking about in the early part of the show. And it's Trish Laube, and she's totally blind, and we talked about that. And but now I'm going to turn it over to Rob Freeman here on The Strange Reality with Dave Emmons, and he's going to conduct a demonstration with Trish on what they work and what they do and seeing without eyes. Okay, Rob, take it away, buddy.
Fabulous. Okay, Trish, what would you like to try first?
Uh, Closed shapes and symbols, please.
Okay. All right. So I've got three symbols here. I'll just show them on the screen for the audience. There is the closed or solid circle. Here is the closed or solid triangle. And here is the solid square right there. Okay, so I'm going to just shuffle them up here, Dave, under the table.
Okay,
And I'm going to ask you the top one, the middle one, or the bottom one shall I take?
you're asking me.
Yep. Only because I want to show that this is not preconceived. This is not memorized, that in real time, you're telling me which card to take for Trish.
If I say it verbally, then Trish is going to hear it.
No, that's okay. So you say
No,
the
you just say
first,
the
second,
top
or third
one,
one.
bottom one.
Oh, okay. All right. Take the bottom one. Okay.
Okay.
From Vegas. Okay.
Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm just wiggling it in the screen. Trish has to find it with her seeing.
Right. Right.
I'm wiggling it, Trish, and now there it
That's
is
the
being held. Go ahead.
that's the closed square.
Okay,
Okay.
and then we'll just take another card, we'll wiggle it so Trish can see it, and then I'm making it bigger in your screen.
That's the closed circle.
Okay, and I'm just going to grab another card. There it is in your screen.
That's the closed circle again.
Okay, I can't trick you.
Yeah.
Nope.
Wow. This is
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to add in the plus into this, Trish. Is that okay?
Sure, why not?
Okay, we consider that a closed symbol. So I'm going to add that one in. So we've got the 4 symbols now. And again, I'm going to shuffle them under the table, Dave.
Okay.
And you tell me the first, second, third, or fourth card to grab.
I'll take the old Vegas route. How about the first card?
First card it is. There it is in your screen, Trish, wiggling it so you can find it.
That's the hold it still, closed circle.
It is, okay. And then I'm just going to shuffle them right in front of the screen here. Okay, just for everybody to see that there's no tricks here. Okay, and I'm just going to reach in and grab one. And there it is, Trish, I'm wiggling it. And then I'm holding it still.
That's the closed plus.
It is, very good. Again, I'm just going
How
to shuffle
about
the
how
card.
about wait. How
Go ahead.
about Dave picks 2, 1 through 4?
Okay, so
Okay.
Dave, we've got 4 cards under the table. I'm shuffling them. They're the solid cards, the symbols. I've stopped shuffling and you give me 2 different numbers to grab.
Oh, this is the age I wish I was again, but 2, 4.
Okay, so here's number 2 on the table, and then 4 is on the table, and I'm going to raise them to the screen. Is that what you wanted me to do, Trish?
Yes, please.
Okay, now I'm just wiggling them both. Then I'm
Okay.
stopping.
Okay, on my as I'm looking at the screen, on my left is the closed triangle, on my right's the closed square.
Wow, very
Bingo.
good, Trish.
Yes.
Okay. What else would you like to do, Trish?
Let's do all 7 symbols, and Dave
Okay.
can pick any of those numbers 1 through 7.
Okay.
Okay, this is where our, grade school math comes into importance here, Dave.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't do very good in math in college, but I did okay in high school. Okay, I'll try. How about number 7?
Okay, number 7 it is. There it is in the screen, Trish. Wiggling it so you
All
can
right.
find where it is. And then I'm holding it
That-
still.
That one's the closed circle.
Okay, Dave, again.
And I didn't pick the closed circle because I knew it. I've been picking circles, I guess, a couple of times, but this is not put up, people. This is not a Vegas trick. Trish is actually seeing these things blind. So let's go on. What is the other one?
It is. And I'm just going to shuffle them in front of the screen just so that your viewers can see that there's no trickery here. Okay, and then you tell me which one to grab, Dave.
I grab, I guess, the third one.
Okay, so that's the first one, second one, and this is the third one right here. Trish, I'm wiggling it, and there it is in your screen.
Closed square.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can do that again there, Dave. I'm shuffling them right in the screen. Okay, there's no
Okay.
funny business here, and you tell me which one to take.
Okay, how about number 4?
Okay, so that's number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3, and this is 4. Trish, I'm wiggling it, and now I'm stopping.
That one's the closed triangle.
It is.
Yes.
So we could just keep doing that same thing all day,
So-
but
Yeah.
you want to try something different,
well-
Trish?
Yes, let's because I kept getting even with the random choosing, let's just run through all the opens right now randomly, having him pick 1 through 3.
Okay. So we've got an open square, an open circle, and an open triangle. And I'm shuffling them under the table.
Dave, during our practice on Monday and Thursday nights, Rob does this where if you get the answer, you get to have player's choice. So this is very similar, which makes it really fun.
Oh, you don't get a free drink?
You
Get a
have to
free
go get
drink.
that yourself.
Oh, okay.
Get a free drink, and I'll be having blurry, even more vision,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and have to take a nap.
Yeah. Well, you're
So,
already seeing kind of like a glazed glass, right? That's
Yes,
how you see.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. But I'd say it'd be worse. It'd be like, I'd have to scrape it for an hour straight, probably.
Okay.
yeah, and also, Dave, I'll just mention here, we don't allow drinking or drugs or anything at the seminars. It
Bingo.
has to be substance free, because there's always the risk that this mind sight will only then open if you're under the influence of something.
That's
So
yeah.
we want them to be able to open this mind sight totally sober, totally in a natural mind without anything artificial.
Right.
So, Dave, I'm shuffling under the table, and you can tell me the first, second, or third card.
Okay, I'll pretend like I'm at the OK Corral. Number 2.
Okay. Number 2 is going in the screen. Trish, I'm wiggling it. These are the open symbols. There's a wiggle. And then stopping.
Okay. Let's see. See, the open ones are definitely challenging, but I still am able to do them. It just takes a little bit longer because it's like a white glare, and that one's the open circle.
Try again, Trish. Follow the line exactly and see what it is.
Oh, what was I looking at down here? Oh, it's the open triangle.
It
There you
is.
go.
It is. You see, it's very, very
Yep.
blurry for Trish at the moment, so she could easily get confused. But what about this one, Trish? It's one of the 3 open symbols. I'm wiggling it so you can find it. Okay, and then I'll stop and just follow the line.
That's the open circle.
It is the open circle. Okay, and last one, okay, is this one. Follow all lines that you have.
Let's see. Wow, my eyes just are doing something really weird right now. Hold on a second.
Let me just wiggle for a
They keep-
second. There's a wiggle, okay? And now it's
Okay.
stopped in your screen.
That's the open circle again.
It is. See,
Okay.
we can't
Yeah.
trick her there, Dave.
There you go. Yeah, that is fantastic, Trish. I really admire you for doing that and working with Rob on this and getting it down. I know you're probably, how long you been doing this now, Trish, with Rob?
Well, I went to his in-person seminar in Orlando, Florida last January, so January
Okay.
2025, and I've been jumping on any opportunity I get to practice and practice here at home. But Dave, I want to see if you and Rob have you pick 2 numbers again out of all 7 for those shapes and put 2 in the screen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. She's double
All
daring
right.
you, Rob.
So this is player's choice.
Yeah.
Okay. So just for the audience, we've got open and closed shapes here. There's 7 in total: square, circle, triangle, and then the plus. And the shapes are open and closed. And I'm just going to shuffle them. Okay. There's no funny business here. And Dave, you tell me which 2 to grab.
I'll say number 1 and number 3.
Okay, there's number 1. I'll put it down for a second. And then this is 2. And here's number 3. So number 3 is being wiggled in the screen, Trish. And I'm going to put beside it the other one that Dave picked. So these were
Okay.
picked by Dave. This is in real time. And they're both in your screen, side by side.
Okay. Oh my goodness, that's great. Wow. Holy cow, Dave, you won the lotto. That's an open square on my left and a closed square on my right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Well done, Trish. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
that is- Yeah.
Dude, that's an awesome pick. You just randomly picked 1 and 3, and it happened to be the two same shapes, just different
Well,
configurations.
well, Rob knows I'm part ET, you know.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Awesome.
I've had all kinds of ET experiences like Mark works on.
Oh my
So
goodness,
yeah,
that's exciting. That's
but
exciting and fun.
yeah,
Well,
but
let's do colors.
colors.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. So we've got the three colors. Now they can look different in people's screens, Dave, because of the way the
Yeah,
color is reproduced. This one is a yellow. It can look sometimes lime green, but it's actually yellow. This one is blue, okay, in the screen, and this one's pink. Sometimes this looks red, but it
yeah.
actually is pink. And then I'm going to shuffle them under the table. And Dave, once again, so that there's no funny stuff, you tell me which one to grab.
Okay. How about number 2 and 3?
Do you want one color or two, Trish, to start with?
One probably first.
One
Okay,
color.
2.
Okay.
Okay,
Which one,
2.
Dave?
2.
Two. Okay. Now, Trish, do you need a light to find the center of the screen, or do you just want the color being
Well,
flat?
you can put the color up, and then if I need the light, I'll let you know so I can figure out where in the world to look on the screen.
Okay, now I'm moving it through your screen, so you're going to see it
All right.
flat.
That 100% is yellow.
Ah, well done. And I could see the yellow reflecting on your face, Trish, so you know your screen's working.
There you
Okay,
go.
and
Well-
I'm just going to grab one randomly. Okay. I'll take the one off the top. And what have we got?
Gotta find where in the world to look.
If you need a
Oh.
light, just say.
I think I definitely need a light for that. I had to figure out where, now that I was looking, I wiped my eyes are watering too.
Okay.
That doesn't help, but
There's my
Right.
iPhone light in your screen, and then I'm just moving the card
Okay.
back and forth. And then I will take the light away once you spot it, Trish.
Okay, that's the yellow again.
It is. And, by random, it was the yellow again, but Trish still got it. And then real quick, what about this one, Trish? I'm moving it up and down on your screen. There is no light, but I can put it there if you need it.
Yeah, that's the pink.
It is the pink. Well
Yep.
done. What can I say, Dave?
Yeah, I know. That I guess she's made an A+ on this one, this demonstration. Yeah. Yeah. I just hope people know that this is very difficult, where you can imagine yourself being totally blind and being able to see these things through a computer screen. And if you were in person, does that make a big difference, Trish, when you're in person and Rob will hold up a color or an image, or maybe he's behind the screen
Well,
and he pulls it out?
typically what I've experienced is well, in the fall of 2023, I have medical documents to show that I was absolutely black in both eyes. My tunnel vision had all the way gone down. That's, happens sometimes with people with RP. And so on the screen, I'm able to do this, and in person with the shapes and colors, it really, really has to do with lighting, whether it's out in the sun or having the right lighting, because if it's a dim place, it's very difficult.
Okay.
If it's got good lighting, like I actually bought a sad light, I think it's called, this Verilex Happy Light, which I guess is for seasonal affect disorder. And I use that, and I really actually have that here. It's this right here. And if I
Yeah.
turn it on, it's supposed to be as bright as the sun.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I'll put that beside me here like this, and then I'll hold up the shapes for myself and go through the shapes and the colors, just like that. And I also have my my mother and stuff hold them up for me, and hand them to me. And I did a recent video doing that as well. So
Yeah.
um,
When you go down to Orlando where Rob's got these classes or demonstrations, do you spend a lot of time on the beach?
I actually haven't been to the beach yet. So
Really?
I'm actually, when I go down this time, I have a one-way ticket.
Yeah.
Because I'm going down for the seminar, and I'm having our aunt pick me up, and then I'm hoping to get to the beach.
Okay. Well, Orlando's in the middle of the state, so you have to travel a little bit to get to the beach. I guess Rob can't have beach
Yeah.
parties after the
There you
demonstration.
There you go.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us, Trish, about Can you let people know
Um,
what you've been kind of like, how you got to this point, and with Rob and seeing this improvement?
I think the biggest thing is that I'd like to share to people is you know, the you can practice all day long, with yourself. You can go to, his Vision Without Eyes Facebook page, and you can download the shape file, and you can print them, and you can practice
Right.
with family and friends. But the seminar environment is just so beautifully energized with the excitement of all of us, kind of like on a playground. We're all just kids at that point. You drop the adult at the door and you pick up your kid just inside it. And that's all you get to do is just be fun and be a kid again. And that whole thing and that mindset and everybody being on that level is just so much fun.
Hmm.
It's what's really cool and a really good just popped in my head is to associate it with when you go to camp for the first time. You're going to go, you don't know what to expect, don't have expectations, don't have expected outcomes or want outcomes. Come like you're going to meet new people, just like a kid would at a new campground. You don't know what the activities are going to be for that time that you're at camp. You don't know what toys are going to be available, what crafts you're going to do. It's just like that.
Yeah. Great. That's where you got your nickname Tenacity, right?
Yeah.
My wife has
Mm.
nicknames for me, but I can't say them on the show.
Yeah.
Rob, in closing, what could you tell us about this program and how Trish is doing, uh, and how when you're going to have your next one? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just so excited about this. The next seminar is January 24th to February 1st in Orlando. We're almost full. And there's a couple seats left or a couple spots left. But, once again, my goal is helping people like Trish. Trish saw at one time in her life for many years, and she's lost that. And that was a tough thing for her. And now she has the hope that she will be able to see her granddaughter's face in the coming weeks and coming months.
Right.
And it's harder for folks who have had seeing and have lost it. When I
Yes.
say harder, I
Yes.
mean it's harder to deal with
Yeah.
emotionally and so on. If you were born blind, well, you've learned to deal with it, and that's normal for you.
Right.
So at the same time, my goal is to have it available for both people who have lost their eyesight through accidents, through disease, through whatever, as well as folks that are born blind or have been born with very low vision. And they don't have to accept that in this life, you
Hmm.
know? I mean, some people have told me, well, it's my karma. I have to accept that I'm going to be blind. And I've also said, well, wait a minute, you found me. Is that part of your karma also that now you've been led to this
Right.
and you have to accept that you're going to be blind all your life?
Yeah.
And they said, well, I never thought of it like that. So they can let go of that this is a destined thing for them to be blind all their life, that they have to accept it.
Hmm.
And they can learn to let go and let their naturally occurring mind sight come out and play.
Yeah.
And that is my goal, is everybody who is blind or visually impaired, I'd like them to have that available.
Yeah.
Trish, you have
Trish.
something?
Yeah.
I just I wanted to also say mindset is huge. And yes, I have the name Tenacity Trish, and I've lived up to that. And I remind myself when I do have things. And like Rob said, um, even though I was diagnosed with this and I was told I was going to go blind, there's nothing I could do about it. When you slowly lose the progression, I was able to. I lost that over 15 years to when it started getting into the 20-year mark. I had my first granddaughter born, and then my second, and I did go into a mental status that was very rough. That I
Yeah.
was like, I never thought that I wouldn't see my grandbabies' faces, and the hardest part was getting out in the yard and trying to figure out how in the world I can play with them. And I was crying with my husband. I said, how can I be out here with them? What if they get hurt? What if they head for the road and I don't see where they're going? And I just, this is why I'm so adamant about like whatever I can do naturally or outside the box to try, I'm willing to put in 100% effort.
Yeah. Oh, now
And
medically.
honestly, Dave,
Yeah.
Trish is our very first person. I've been doing this now for, I guess, 8 years and, advancing into blind people here. And Trish is our very first person who has gained sight that she can see in real time. And once again, the idea is to now expand this. And over the last few weeks, I've already seen her expand it so far, and we want to expand it further, one day at a time.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, yes,
Dave, did you have a
it's
question?
something. I was thinking about the medical thing, the prognosis.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah. Now, okay. My wife just asked me a question. I'm sorry. Sorry for the but let me know the prognosis of the of the I guess the doctors with the medical. I know we talked about it earlier in the show. Could you tell us what the doctors are telling you that might happen in the future with the prognosis?
Well, the doctors in 2004, when I was diagnosed, the doctor said, "You're going to go blind. There's nothing you can do about it." I had two kids at under the age of 10, and I believed that for 20 years. And then I had the only thing I can experience or say is some type of near-death experience or out-of-body experience. Something happened during a medical breathing emergency that I had an experience, and I won't go into it elaborate here because that's not what that's about at this point. But after that, I came out of that, and I came out of an entire all of 2023, the year of that, through severe anxiety. I actually was on medication for 6 weeks. I don't do medication. So I said to the doctor, look, I don't plan on being on this long, only long enough to figure out what in the world is going on with me. And I pulled myself off of that and asked her, I said, I want to reduce this medication. And, um, and then I did that, but my doctors know, when I came to her, and I go to her every 6 months. So she has seen this progression, and I have all of my field of vision tests. So anybody who's out there, a medical doctor or a person who is dealing with any kind of visual issues, I have the field of vision test, which is a exam that has, what they do is they test one eye at a time, and I put one eye in, and then I have to push a button anytime I see lights all around in your peripheral vision.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is when there's not lights in that peripheral, then it'll slowly go down tunnel vision. And then when people only see, like they'll have a little white dot, and you're supposed to stare at that dot and not look around. You don't look for these dots. You're supposed to stare only at the thing in the middle. And when you do, all of a sudden you might see a flash of a dim light or a bright light. It's just a quick little flash around that one you're supposed to be staring at, which shows that your tunnel vision now, which mine got all the way down to the tip of the pin. So a tip of a pin is what she said my tunnel vision was down to. And once that happens, all those diagnostics, and then having the other test I have to have is independent on eyes as well. As I put one eye in, and then the other is I have to look into a machine that it takes a picture of the back of my retina. I don't know the exam name, but I have to look for an X in there, and I have to line that up the best I can. And then they do the picture, which is like a white flash, and it'll say, don't breathe, don't blink, don't breathe, don't blink. I was not able to see that in 2023 in October during my exam. So they had to call in a second person because the other person didn't know what in the world to do. And they had to move my head all over the place for them to get me close to whatever they needed for the picture. Following that, I went back, and my doctor said, Trish, I'm blown away. I can tell in that machine that you can actually see that X again to look for that you were not able to see. We had to have extra people come in to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, she's loving this journey. She cannot wait. She is so happy that Rob is doing this, and she's so on board. She just retired, and she gave me her cell phone number. Her and I talked on the phone, and she is so on board with getting this, not only the Vision Without Eyes out there to people, but following my journey and supporting me as I go out and share this with other blind and visually impaired community members.
Yeah, it'd be good for the medical community to pick up on some of this training and what Rob's got to go with. And it sounds great, But the medical prognosis, I know we talked about these chips or these implants that they put in, and they could be dangerous. But I'm just wondering what the medical teams, I know maybe the Deep Dark MIC group has all kinds of things that they're not letting us have. But I know that's the future. I hope the future is great for you, Trish, and that some way they can do something medically for you along with this training
Right.
that Rob has for you.
A lot of the doctors right now that are helping the blind and visually impaired with their exams are kind of navigating people toward Neuralink at this point.
Yeah.
But it is in human clinical trials, and they have done stem cell, but it's not the studies that they've done in the clinical trials keep fluctuating, where it's not a consistent. And again, that's where I come back to saying, we have it within us naturally, and at that point, it cannot be taken from us, and it can't be manipulated. It can't be shut down like a cell phone or EMPs happening or anything else. It can't. It doesn't need upgrades like our cell phones. I mean, think of how many times our phones have to upgrade.
Yeah.
Do you really want something implanted in you that has to have an upgrade and have it malfunction? And where I'm all about the natural holistic. I want it inside. I know I have it inside. I've proven this now, and cannot wait to follow this journey and share it with anybody else that if they're willing to be, like my doctor says, I have a lot of fortitude.
There you go.
I actually had to look that up because I never heard of that word before. So I'm like, oh, okay. You get this farm girl that comes from a farm, and hey, I never heard that word. So not like you would say fortitude on a farm, but so that's the tenacity part of me, and I'm just like, yeah, let's do it.
When you're in the military,
maybe you want to see Trish in about 6 months' time.
do an update. Yes, we'll do that. And Rob, you got anything to say to close out the show, buddy?
I just say thank you very much for having Trish and I on your show, Dave, and letting Trish showcase what she's able to do.
I enjoyed it. I really did. I just, God bless her.
Dave, and Dave, thank you so much for this. Not only it's just like so cool that you were able to pick two shapes that match, because that was the highlight. That was out of this whole thing, that was the highlight for me. That was just awesome.
That's that ET intuition. Rob knows that we kind of share a little bit. Anything else, Rob, to close out? Yeah. Anything else?
No, if anybody wants to see the website, it's visionwithouteyes.com, and there's links to the Facebook page, to the YouTube channel. And, people can come on the Facebook, they can ask for a partner and practice online. They can come out to a seminar. Gosh, if they want to do this, whether they're sighted or non-sighted, come on out and let's do it.
Yeah, I got to remind people.
Really,
Go ahead, Trish.
I would just encourage people also to go to his YouTube channel, because if you type in Vision Without Eyes blind, it's going to pull up all like 5 or 7 of us that are progressing, and you'll see the videos as we all progress.
Okay.
Trish has got a good point there, Dave. If because we are following all the different blind people, and I'm posting a lot of videos, so you'll see the progression, especially with, some of the people that don't even have eyes at all. So,
okay.
Once again, thank you so much, Dave.
Yeah. And Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trish. And Rob and Mark, who's been on my show before, and we talk about all different kinds of things, but this is a totally big topic that I think a lot of people would be interested in watching and listening to. And you've been listening to The Strange Reality with Dave Emmons and my guest, Rob Freeman, and Tenacity, Trish Laube. And I want to say good night or good day with everybody who's been watching, and I hope you find this very interesting. And I also, if you know somebody who has eyesight problems, point them towards this direction in this show and get the information already. Thank you, everybody, for listening in, and thank you for your support.